Welcome to Create, Build, Manage, the Entrepreneur's Toolbox.
Welcome to Create, Build, Manage on BizTV. I'm Kelli Phillips. This season of Create, Build, Manage is brought to you by Thought Leader. Today we have two great guests for you. First, Ilia Jakel uses her decades of experience to equip business professionals with the skills, tools, and insight to thrive in today's competitive business landscape. And Susan Fraser-Hughes is an artist who finds forgiveness and letting go through creating art based on the concept of healing. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Create, Build, Manage on BizTV. Ever experienced an insecure, toxic leader who intentionally tries to derail your career growth? Well, if you have, our next guest can help. Please welcome Ilia Jakel. Hi, Ilia. How are you?
I'm doing great, Kelli. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, thanks for being here. Give us a little background on you.
I have been over 20 years in business, corporate, and in leadership. And now I have my own company. It's called Sharpen Leadership. And we dedicate ourselves to develop leadership skills for corporations and business professionals.
And how did you come up with that?
With it's starting, you mean the company?
Yes.
Sharpen Leadership?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I was in corporate for over 20 plus years. And, it was a great experience. But once I started experience some toxic leadership, I said, you know what, there is something that needs to happen. There is, we need to transform the workplace, the culture. And so I decided that let's put all my experience for over 20 years in business and in leadership to the company and to be able to help develop leaders.
Talk about toxic leaders. What type of characteristics they have and what you are even noticing?
Through my career, Kelli, I have the opportunity and the privilege of working with some exceptional leaders. But I also was able to work with few that embody toxicity. And toxic leaders, usually that are driven by insecurities, they feel threatened by the potential in others, especially with their employees, their team. And once that happens, they resort to tactics that hinders their subordinate potential. And they start to do actions and create an environment that is unhealthy and also an atmosphere that creates fear, self-doubt, and derail the progress of those that they should be empowering. Let me give you an example. Imagine being in a situation like this. You're advancing in your career, and it's a career marked with success and hard work. But then you are faced with a new boss that enters the picture. And this leader is a toxic leader that micromanages every aspect of your job. Your decisions are questioned. Your own team dynamics are disrupted. Every time that you try to move forward, all your efforts in moving forward is met with resistance and more challenges from these toxic leaders. And I heard countless of stories like these from business professionals across industry. So this is not just isolated to an industry, but it's across industry of toxic leadership, where a supervisor, a manager, even a top professional have sabotaged their career. And this toxic behavior is really detrimental for the team performance, morale, innovation, and also affect the mental health of the workers. And we're seeing a lot of that increase right now. They feeling more anxious, depressed, and all of that. So research have shown over and over that most people don't quit their jobs. But what they do quit is their bosses. And these stories are a stark reminder that of the profound impact that actually leadership has, and that these are not isolated incidents of one industry, but it's across industry. And it's a pervasive issue that needs to be addressed in order to transform the business spaces in healthy environments.
So, can you transform a toxic leader?
If they are willing to. And also if the organization, there is no space for toxicity in the organization. It's a healthy organization. Toxic leaders, the first thing is most of the time, honestly, Kelli, they don't even know that they are toxic. They have no clue that what their behavior is doing sometimes in their employees, okay? There are some that are intentional, but the majority of those insecure leaders, they just want to maintain control, maintain their positions, and they feel really threatened. And if they have never been equipped before as a leader, they have no idea what to do except micromanage and trying to hinder everybody else's potential so that they themselves look good.
So how does Sharpen leadership develop leaders?
That's a good question. Well, we believe, Sharpen Leadership believes that leadership skill is the key differentiator of success for business professionals and for organizations. So we help to develop leaders by equipping business professionals at all levels in our organization. We do it with corporations, entrepreneurs. And what we do is we try to give them the skills and the tools they're going to need to excel in their positions and for the organization in the market. One of the first things we do is for corporations, we offer customized trainings. And these trainings focus on the unique needs of that particular client. The other thing that we integrate in all this training is that we provide business case scenarios. We provide a team dynamics and a strategic thinking, exercising, all of that designed to foster organizational growth.
When you have toxic leaders,
Yes.
Obviously you're stifling your own business. So when toxic leaders find this out, have you found success stories?
Yes. There are some, like I said, one of the things that is important is assessing the leadership skills of the workers, or the leaders in an organization. Some leaders, they start noticing that their career is not going anywhere and they have no clue why. So sometimes they get that feedback either from their leaders above of them. Sometimes they notice that their career they're not advancing and they're not going to advance and they don't know why. And that's all those questions that they start reflecting and saying what I need to do. And sometimes they come for mentorship to us. And sometimes they come for assessing their skills in leadership. It's like if you have an employee that is wonderful in their position, but then you promote them to a leadership position without any managerial or leadership skills, that person is one that probably will be a toxic leader. So that's why in Sharpen Leadership, not only we do corporations, but we also like to develop the skills of the business professionals. So we offer individual development skills. We offer masterminds for them. And we also have a very unique mentorship program that we have that we do it once a year. And we do it for leaders all across the industry. They can come. They have a safety environment. They have to sign a contract where everything shares stays there. And they can bring their challenges. and they can discuss some of the things they are going through, high-stake decisions that they are, and get all the other leaders that are at the same level some of the insight.
So, Ilia, if there are leaders or even businesses or corporations out there that want to learn more, how can they get in touch with you?
They can contact us if they want to elevate their career, their leadership skill, or experience the strategic growth different from Sharpen Leadership. They can connect to us in our website, sharpenleadership.com, or they can look at my profile in LinkedIn.
Ilia Jakel, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your insight. We appreciate it. Our next guest is exploring the world one drawing at a time. Please welcome Susan Fraser-Hughes to the program. And Susan, I want you to tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started in art.
Hey, it's an absolute honor to be here, so thank you very much. I began art when I had moved to Canada. I grew up in Australia, and I moved to Canada to be with my husband. And I chose to go back to school. Art had always been a big part of my life. And I went to school to start studying art. And it just started to develop from there. I had found that I had an absolute love for exploring just self-portrait, self-identity, and it started to develop. So I did my MFA, and then I went on to later do my PhD, all sort of researching self-exploration of place, and essentially my journey.
So what do you think about whenever you're creating your art?
The art comes from something that's stirred within. It's a reaction to a place, an event that's happened in my life, and essentially it's an unpacking of my journey. I sort of term it as an unpacking of a suitcase. So all of the things that essentially have impacted my life in the past, it's unpacking those things one layer at a time through my art.
It's kind of like peeling back an onion, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's a an excellent way of describing. It's one layer and then it's the next layer. When I started doing this, they were very shallow layers. They were things that, like claustrophobic. I was very claustrophobic, and I was curious as to why, and then why shadow was such an integral part of my work. And then it just got deeper and deeper from there, and started to sort of investigate some of the really deep things that are part of my psyche.
So are you finding yourself learning more about yourself through your art?
I think I heard a wonderful quote last week. They were quoting Carson Gray. She's a singer from Haida, and she had said that learning to love yourself should be as easy as riding a bicycle, but for some people it's not. And I would say I was one of those people. I had to come to learn to love myself by coming to understand myself. And I did that by journeying through my art.
Do you find that there's a common thread that goes through your art?
The thread that goes through my art is definitely healing. It's looking at just elements of myself, like loss of voice, loss of confidence, feeling that I don't belong, all of those things that are personal to me, but they're universal things. What I find is when people look at my art, there's usually a strong reaction to it. Not always positive, sometimes negative, but always it brings out a conversation in people. There's a connection with my work connects with other people. And there's always a conversation that follows. So it's about finding connection with other people. It's about encouraging conversation with people, and it's about healing me at the same time.
I've got to ask, one of the questions that I like to ask artists is, what is art? So what is art to you?
Art to me is an exploration. I began this when I was doing my undergrad, and we were given an assignment, which was a box. And we had to create a self-portrait out of the box, the inside and the outside. And that was what started the journey for me. So it is just through my drawings. It's what comes to me naturally, intuitively. And it's then just using that art to find out where the resonance is. What is it I need to be exploring? What is it I need to unearth? It's sort of like an unearthing of things within.
What are your choices of materials that you use while creating your art?
I used to use a lot of process work. I would do what was called process painting. So finding ways to remove myself from the actual process of creating. But lately I've been working purely with the charcoal on a surface called frosted mylar. And I work in charcoal because it enables me to feel more connected with the subject I'm exploring. When I have a paintbrush in the hand, I feel that I'm sometimes disconnected, but when I have just the charcoal or just the eraser, it's like it's coming straight from the heart. It's a connection to soul. It enables me to work directly from a place within.
Why do you think art is so important to the world?
Art has many forms, and it has many purposes. Art, I think, from my standpoint, is about healing, and it's about conversation, and it's about encouraging others to heal or find voice. But it's also about beauty. It's about allowing the viewer to immerse themselves in an image that can, for a fraction of the moment, take them away, or it can ignite emotions in that person, or memories, or it serves many. It's incredibly important for many different reasons.
What are some of the types of art that you do? I notice behind you, you have various roses. Are those some of your art pieces?
Yeah, they're all my art pieces. The roses in particular, they're the series that I've been working on most recently. My mother has dementia, and I had created a series of roses on just sort of documenting the deterioration of the rose, and how I felt it was quite symbolic for what happens in dementia, or what I've observed happening with my mother in dementia. And when I showed them, I had a number of people come up and say, look, I've read your statement and I've seen your work. This is my story. And I knew in that moment I needed to tell other people's stories associated with dementia, just the collective, the people that work together, how dementia is more than a disease. It's about the person behind the disease. It's about the people supporting that person. It's a collective. So the roses that you see behind me are actually roses for other people. They've chosen the rose. They've told me the story, and I've drawn a rose in response to what they've given me.
What does it mean to you to have that connection, to have the response from other people that are viewing your art that connect with what you've done?
Incredibly important. This is why I do it. I think more and more we need to be looking at ways to connect with one another. We're all in this together. We're all one. And rather than distancing ourselves or isolating ourselves, it's finding ways that we can become closer, can connect, have conversations, have empathy, have joy, have love for one another. So, art is my way of expressing that and my way of connecting with others.
So how can people find your art or even see your art?
They can find my art on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn, but they can also find me on my website, susanfraserhughes.com.
Susan, we appreciate you taking your time this afternoon with us. Really appreciate it.
Great. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I really enjoyed that.
Thanks for joining me today for BizTV's Create, Build, Manage from Thought Leader. Do you have a message that you want to get out into the world? Thought Leader has helped many aspiring motivational speakers land TEDx Talks, from their virtual talk practice club to speaker certifications and TEDx-style coaching. Thought Leader will help get your message out into the world where it belongs. For more information, visit thought-leader.com. Stay tuned to BizTV for more stories that educate, enlighten, and empower.